5 of Hump Day history. And we are at the Old Mill Restaurant, which many are familiar with in Austin. It has a long, long history that the current owner, Dave Forlan, is going to tell us about. And learn about this delicious, historic landmark in our community. Ramsey Dam is behind, and we'll see some pictures of that when we go in.
If you guys have any questions today, feel free to.
Love those gnomes. The building has changed a little bit through its history, so if you haven't been here in a long time, you may say that looks different.
Really fun gnomes in the front here. Should we head inside?
All right,
Yeah, I think we
let's
can
go
go in.
inside.
All right. Here we go. Got it. All right. We'll let Dave introduce himself. We'll let you introduce yourself.
I'm Dave, the Old Mill Restaurant. I've been here for a long time. It's almost 33 years.
Wow.
That you've owned it?
Yeah.
33
Yep.
years. Wow.
Fantastic. Well, tell us about the beginnings of the building.
It was really run down, really terrible. Is that what you want to talk about the restaurant?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, initially it was a mill, and it was a restaurant when I bought it, and very run down. Nobody had spent any money on it. Now everything's pretty much fixed. Pretty much. Maybe I'll start over. Probably.
Dave, would you be comfortable taking your mask off so people...
I can do that.
We're all masked up so everybody knows, but we'll let
Okay.
Dave talk a little clearer.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's muffled.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Ann and I, my wife's bit, I couldn't do it without her.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
What else do you want to
So
know?
when was the mill built?
The mill itself was, I'm not sure the exact date, but we say 1863, 4, somewhere in there.
That sounds right.
Matthew Gregson he was from Germany, he built it.
What brought him to town? Do you know?
I don't honestly know that.
Okay.
In 1900, it got sold to the Meyer family. And that fact that I already told you guys, but live will say that when you look at Lansing Township and it says Meyer Edition, that was the Meyers. They started the golf course and Ramsey Ice in this whole area.
And they made their money running the mill, is that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had like 8 businesses here.
Okay.
Wow.
And they hung out with people that ran the Ramsey Depot. They were really good friends.
There's just a lot of land for them to own.
Yeah, it is.
Had a lot going on it.
Yeah.
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 You mentioned there was a stockyard or a sale barn across
Yeah,
the
the sale
street.
barn was one of their businesses. It was across the road from here. I don't know a whole bunch about that, but I know it was there. Similar to the one in Lanesboro.
So when did this turn into a restaurant then?
Mother's Day 1950, it turned into a restaurant.
And who was the original owner?
Ray Stromer. And
Was it always called the Old Mill?
it was always called the Old Mill. We thought about changing it back to Ramsey Mill like it used to be, which would be kind of cool, I think, but we left it as the Old Mill.
So do you know any details about Mother's Day 1950? How many people did they serve or anything like that?
The menu?
Or the
That
menu?
would be cool.
I have some old menus, but we
Steak.
had a gal here for 68 years and she worked Mother's Day 1950.
Oh, that's right.
She still brings her garbage to the restaurant. I seen her yesterday.
And lots of
Pretty
you
fun.
probably know who she is.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
She's
Yeah.
iconic.
She is
Mhm.
iconic.
Yeah. 68 years. So was there any background on the original family? You said Stormer?
Ray Stromer.
Stromer.
And I knew him. He was
Okay.
still around when I bought the restaurant. He had the Cedar River Nursery next to me, or
Oh,
just to the east of me.
okay.
And so he was always around selling geraniums. Older people that's what he sold was geraniums. They were big.
After he had the restaurant, you mean, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he'd always come, he lived up north and he would come down to the Cedar River Nursery and just sell geraniums for 2 months, move back up north.
And so from him, it went to, who owned the restaurant after?
Yeah, Jim Kellogg bought it.
Okay.
And I don't know if we wanna know that history, but we're just talking about the restaurant.
Mhm.
And it's
And
changed a lot.
Jim Kellogg's the one that built the apartment upstairs,
Okay.
and he was here, I don't even know exactly, but only for 2-3 years. Is that about right? He was here for 2-3 years, and then he started a couple restaurants up north.
And so did you guys take it over after him?
No, then Vern Bushow was here for 10 years. And then I bought it after that.
In what year?
I bought it in 1987 in December, and then I took over in 88.
Did you come from a restaurant family?
No, I always worked in a restaurant in high school. You know, all around town, like 6-8 different restaurants.
Yeah.
No, I was probably at Kenny's Oak Grill for the longest time.
Wow.
So I still talk to Kenny quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, once it's in your system, it's hard to get it out, right?
It is hard to get out.
Yeah. So, but you've changed the building, right?
Made it better. I think it looks the way it should have looked. As far as the inside.
Should we wander?
I mean, all the
Yeah.
original timbers are showing. And yeah, we did get some, we did a few out of a barn. You know, some of them were missing. Some of the timbers were missing in the walls where they wanted to make a straighter wall. They took the timbers out. So we had to put a few back.
And it's been a year and a half
Year and a half.
since the
yeah.
renovation. So if some of you haven't been here in a long time, it may look completely different. The bar area used to be seating, is that right?
The bar area,
Currently.
yep. We do those tables, all the high top tables, which would be here and here, are no reservation. So walk-ins are always welcome. All the low tops are reservation.
In a non-COVID year.
Yeah, in a non-COVID
In
year,
a normal
yeah.
year, yep.
Yeah.
We had a lady named Sue just say, "Hi, I'm in Wisconsin now, but grew up in Austin. Every person I know has been there. And my sisters have had birthday parties out there, but I've never been there. It's like the diamond in the rough for me, and everybody brags about it." She says she's jealous and she's glad she gets to see it virtually at least.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And the beautiful decorations that
Yep.
I assume Ann gets the credit for that,
Ann
or
gets
do you
credit for
do
that.
day?
She likes decorating.
Yes, she does a lovely job. Inside and out, we'll see that
Yeah.
as we go. You have lots of original photos on the walls, so
We'll
people
go look
can
at the
see.
dam too.
That's the original building, roughly 1920-ish?
The photo?
Yeah,
Yes,
Roughly, yeah.
1921.
1921.
And a lot of people don't know about the Ramsey Ice Company. That was,
So there's a Ramsey Ice Company on the same site?
yeah, you can barely see it in this photo here.
And
but
it's
whatever.
east.
Yeah.
Okay,
On the
further
other
The
up.
next
side.
property,
Okay. Who knew you ever had to buy ice?
Yeah. They had teams of horses that would go out on the ice and haul in the big blocks.
Yeah, it was a big part of the Hormel company too.
Okay, we'll go catch up to Holly.
And who's this lady?
Sorry if I'm moving a little
That
fast.
one wasn't labeled. I don't
Okay.
know. But
She
I
liked to fish.
Yeah, and I liked it because
Yeah, I'm looking at the
it was labeled
labels on the walls.
1928,
Which are all from
but if you
around
look at the rodney, it has a reel on it.
Oh. And that wasn't,
Mandy, you could appreciate that.
Yes.
that wasn't there when, I mean, they didn't use reel back then? Is that what you're?
Oh, I think most people would use a switch, they call it, or a cane pole, right?
Well, I don't know the history on it.
Oh,
I just do it. I
come
just
on now.
fish. I don't do the history side of the fishing. I can catch them now.
Hmm.
And did you guys talk about who was pictured in the photos? Do you know who's in the pictures?
They were not labeled, no.
They were not labeled, but they were out at the Meyer house, so I'm guessing it's the Meyer girls.
Members of the family.
There was 9 kids in the family of the Meyer family.
And
Yeah,
there is
there's
one, like the lady in the middle of this photo,
There's the mill, so that's where we're at now.
and this lady on the end. This is the last of the Meyer family that we were able to personally visit with. Her name was Louise Meyer.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. And just, I guess, called comments on Facebook world.
We just had a compliment on the holiday decorations,
Oh.
so.
My personal favorite are all of the exposed post and beams. When this really was a mill, it was built as with post and beam construction, and just a year ago, we went through the complete remodel to expose all of the original post and beams, and when he was talking about replacing some of them, that's what he was talking about. We had to go find some beams to try and match, and we were lucky enough to find an old barn that was being torn down from 1860 about.
So the same time period.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, so they fit in really well. I challenge you to find them.
So, the mill was built out of used lumber. Like, as you notice, like, this beam and this beam are burnt. You know, and none of the rest of them are burnt. And the joist pockets wouldn't make sense. Like, we did use them for our construction to make it look real, but, you know, these joist pockets wouldn't make sense for the mill.
Hmm. So you mentioned there is an apartment upstairs?
Yeah. We lived up there for 22 years.
You lived up there for 22 years?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
well, at least you had a nice view.
Yeah.
I do miss my morning coffee out there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard to get away from the office though.
Yeah.
So here's that view. We were here for dinner before the shutdown and there was an owl in that.
Actually, I've been seeing the owl lately.
Have you?
I
Yeah.
feel like every time I've eaten here, there's always the owl. Oh, the barred owl
But,
out.
like the barred owl, like now that there's ice there,
Mhm.
it won't be sitting, because it fishes out of the river.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they have an owl here, for those of you that didn't catch that, they have an owl that likes to hang out here and fish in the river.
I suppose you see deer, eagles, all sorts of
Yeah,
things.
and I think the eagles deter the owl from sitting there.
Oh, I would imagine. The
There's two
owl is
bald
afraid of the eagles.
and, there's a nest, there must be a nest straight across by Woodhaven there somewhere.
That's-
That's where I see them going.
So tell us how the river's used today and what you've heard about the past.
I mean, there's more and more activity on the river as far as canoers, kayakers, that kinda, there's a little bit of fishing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Shh, don't tell people that.
It's not very good fishing at
I know
all.
Amanda likes to fish
I
and
don't
she
know
doesn't
if they
always like to
actually
share
catch
her
much
spots
up
with
the
people.
It's mostly right here.
This is kinda like Lake.
I fished there this spring.
Yeah, that's what she said.
What's that?
We were fishing down here this spring.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably caught some northerns, probably.
I don't fish and tell.
But you said you know of people that used to water ski on this
Yeah,
section.
That would have been a long time ago. That was probably
Yeah.
40 years ago.
Yeah, it used to be much deeper.
Yeah, it's kind of filled in.
There used to be a paddle boat that would, go
We
up
have a
and down
picture
the
of that
river
somewhere. A
because
guy
it
in
was-
Brownsdale owned that paddle boat.
Yeah,
And those paddle boat rides, 5 cents.
Oh,
Wasn't it 5 cents?
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a nickel.
And actually, somebody in Woodhaven has the sign.
Oh, cool.
paddle boat rides, 5
And so we do have
cents.
some pictures of that paddle boat.
Because that used to be the swimming beach, public swimming beach up there also.
Oh,
Okay.
Which
In case
is
you
the
didn't hear that,
photo
just
that-
upriver is where the swimming beach was, is what Ann was just saying.
And yeah, Louise told me it was, did she say 25 cents?
A carload.
Yeah. So she told me that people used to pull up to the mill, all load in one car, and then it was $25 a car load for
Cents.
9 holes of golf
Oh,
and swimming.
25 cents or $25?
No, 25 cents.
25 cents to
But-
golf and swim.
Yeah.
So they'd pile them in like going to the drive-in.
That's what I was just
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
of, how many people we put in the car
Yeah,
to go to
people
the
used to do
drive-in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, interesting.
Very good.
Were there any other spaces you want to show us while we're here?
Should we go downstairs?
Maybe the wine room?
Well, we could go downstairs.
Okay.
It's a little disorientated from COVID.
Hey, aren't we all?
Sorry, we're all disoriented.
We're all disoriented. So yeah,
I
if
mean,
you
there is some more pictures in that room,
okay.
Okay.
if we wanna do that first.
Sure.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll go do some zoom ins on some pictures. And Dave and Ann usually aren't open on Monday, so right?
Right.
So they did come in special for us.
So in this photo, they are working on the raceway that is to the side, outside here.
The raceway.
Raceway is where the.
Well, some people call it a spillway or a raceway.
Oh. And they're working on it, meaning
They're pouring the concrete.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's bigger than people think. It's, it's 16 by 16 by 60.
wow.
And then the wheel pit's below there where the turbine sits.
Yeah, I need
So
some
there's a lot of
education
water
on that.
There's a lot-
There's a lot of, history to that part.
It was a 67 horse turbine. I still have the catalog that they bought the turbine out of.
Oh, how fun.
I did some homework on a hydroelectric
Okay.
possibility.
Out of consideration
Yeah.
for,
Well, no, it is his dream to actually create power one day.
To create power. Like
Mm.
for the restaurant or for the
Well-
world in general?
It would be more than the restaurant needs.
Okay.
But not enough for the world.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a picture there.
Yeah.
The glare is a little hard. What is this?
This one was labeled A Busy Day, December 1918.
Looks
The-
like they're unloading feed or
Yeah.
loading feed or
They're loading
Flour.
flour.
Yeah. So they would bring the grain in, process it, fill the bags back up, and put it back onto the wagons and take it home.
Yeah, trying to get a
Is
good
that
visual.
is
And
that side of the
Better.
building what is on the street now? It'd be facing the street.
Yep,
Yes.
that'd be facing the street.
Yes.
And that's actually our front door still.
Yeah.
Right,
Wow,
Okay.
So there's the front
Yeah.
door of the, of the
And
restaurant,
this,
right
and
there.
this door goes into the kitchen and that's still there too.
Cool.
I just have the siding so it comes off.
Then this is the raceway or the spillway that shows them hauling in all of the cement to be poured.
Try to get rid of the glare.
You can get, it's pretty good from over here if you. There were lots of mills at one time,
Yep.
weren't there, in the
Yeah,
community?
It's hard to keep them all straight.
Jamie
Yeah.
has some.
From the historical society's point of view, it's
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to keep all the mills
Yeah.
straight that were here in the 1860s, 70s,
Yeah.
and 80s.
Hmm.
So the picture to the left here, that one, that's from the same day, same photos, but from a different view. As that one.
Okay, yeah, the other
Okay.
side.
Yep.
Look at that. People had to work really hard.
Yeah.
So then those pictures that you were just looking at, this is the raceway.
Okay. So there, right down there is where those pictures were.
Yeah, right down there is where those pictures. I recently had that wall poured in there.
So that's what's running the wheel?
Yeah, that's what would run the turbine. Yeah.
The turbine, okay. So there's more than just upkeep to your building.
Oh, yeah.
It's an actual mill. Huh.
It is kind of a funny story when, I don't know if you remember when the river drained, like 4 years ago,
Yeah.
5 years ago, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a wooden dam built in there that I did myself, so I could clean out the millway, or the spillway,
Uh-huh.
and my wooden dam broke.
Oh.
And all the TV stations were here, and they're like, we have no idea why the river drained. They didn't ask me.
Oh.
We were on vacation at the time, so we weren't home.
Oh.
And
Well-
we had phone calls and pictures from the neighbors sitting out in the middle of the
Yeah,
river.
all their
Drained the
pontoons
river.
were in the mud, and I drained the whole river.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so I think I do remember that. You had to repair that then, huh?
Yeah, that was that wall.
That's
I
that
put in.
wall,
And nobody
okay.
told me I had to, but
It was the right thing to do.
And, yeah.
I just told people that the neighbors made me mad, so I drained the river.
You have power.
I have power.
So this is one of my favorite photos. This, if you notice, right in here, those are the posts that are actually out in the main dining room.
So that was the.
So this is the main dining room right here, this
Oh,
Oh,
photo.
wow. So if anyone didn't catch that, that middle photo there is the main dining room today. And those posts are still there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually have one of those wooden dollies.
So our pictures aren't maybe super clear. That just gives you incentive to come out here and look at them
To come
yourself.
out.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about them having strawberry fields, that's what the other two photos are. They would farm strawberries.
Just off to the east there?
No, I
actually-
think it was.
Yeah, it was
Oh.
across the river.
Oh,
across
okay.
the
Is
whole
that
road.
the Myers also?
Mhm.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yep.
Are there any family descendants still in the area?
No.
No.
No, and actually, as many siblings as they had, there were no offspring. I think
Oh.
there was
There's
one.
one baby and it died.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they had, I don't know how many offspring.
9 kids.
9?
Yeah.
And
There was
no-
2 boys
Wow.
and the rest were girls. And Bill Meyer was still around when I bought the mill, so I got to talk to Bill a little bit.
Mhm.
Hmm. Well, it's a good thing you're carrying on the family tradition,
Yeah.
even though you're not family.
Not my family, but-
Yeah.
We were really lucky to come upon all of the negatives and photos that they shared with us.
Mm-hmm.
That was dumpster dive.
Well, we have some friends that like to dumpster dive for treasures.
Some of us have been known to do that ourselves.
I love that barn door
Yeah.
feature.
When we remodeled, that's the door, a front door at Brian Anderson. I just told him in my mind what I'd like, showed him a couple pictures, and he came up with it just like
Oh
that.
my gosh.
And it just fit in perfect in here.
So people can rent this space for their own private event, is that right?
No, we don't, well, during COVID.
Well, no, not during COVID.
No.
Okay.
But if they want to rent it for a certain time frame during
Yeah.
the day or
Normal
night,
times.
yeah.
Just a private area for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Right.
All right, so we go, you guys go first.
So if someone was to reserve the wine room, how would they get there?
Our easiest way is to go outside and go down the sidewalk. I mean, we can go through the kitchen if the weather's bad or whatever, but it's the old mill stairs, actually. They're original, so.
Today we'll take you through the kitchen.
Okay.
There's another route to get there.
So this is even more behind the scenes than usual.
Yeah,
This is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Kitchen's not
Always
very
get to
big.
go in the kitchen.
Well, and it's shocking how little,
Oh,
how much
don't
room you
worry.
put out of here.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, we understand.
That's okay.
You have to be
COVID.
organized.
Yes. How big is your staff?
I mean, when we're open, we got a little over 20.
Okay, so these are the whole
God.
stairs that we are going down right now. So,
Filming the stairs so I don't
Original
fall.
equipment.
From 1950?
glad I'm not wearing my heels today.
I'm imagining I think this landing, like, I think these were replaced at some point, but
This is our
this started wearing through, so I reinforced it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm gonna get a zoom in on that.
Kind of fun.
Yeah.
They're a little worn out.
That adds to the character.
Yeah, right. What they normally do is check in at the host stand, and then the host would bring them around and show them.
Come down. Okay.
Yeah, so this is the common entrance into the wine room. That's the cooler that.
That's the
That
cooler
cooler
there.
is no longer functioning. Here we are.
You and I can sneak over here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you turned the lights off, sorry.
What is that?
This is where the new walk-in cooler is going. There's the
Ah.
original chimney for the
Original
mill, and it
chimney.
goes all the way up to the ceiling. I didn't know he had the lights on.
Okay.
We have Fox Electric here today too.
Oh yeah. The downtime has have been a good time to get stuff done, huh?
Ooh, I love the really big Edison style light
Yeah.
bulbs.
So was this always exposed down here?
No, this used to be when Ray Stromer ran the restaurant. This was his living room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because the second story wasn't there. So this was his living room, and his bedroom was in the back.
Interesting.
So them old guys like pounding nails. It was something to take it down. You know, you had a drop ceiling and whatever, and I exposed all this.
Yeah. Did you do some of the work yourself?
We always do, but
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't build the wine bins and whatever, but we had this idea. The flood of 2004 is what made us do this.
Okay.
I mean, it was this deep in here.
Oh, I missed it. Show it again. How deep
Yeah, I mean, it was this deep in Old Mill. You know, it came up really fast. It was during the barrel show.
Mhm.
That
So the top water line was right here.
Jeez.
never
Is it
dreamed
still
we'd
there?
have that much
Yeah.
water.
Barely.
And this is another used timber. You can see it here, the gusset plates on the timber.
Oh, here, yeah.
Yeah. How the mortise and tendons don't line up. And they made those gusset plates. I mean, maybe you can see it better back here where, see, the mortises don't line up.
Yeah. So this is a perfect example of taking something old and just updating it so you can keep it
Yeah.
going. Which,
Adaptive reuse.
there you go.
Yeah.
Adaptive
Is,
reuse, Jamie said for the formal comment.
That's what we use in the public history world.
Yeah.
And this is actually a flour sack from this mill, Ramsey Mills.
There's that mill museum in the cities. I've never
Mhm.
got to go there, but on their ad, you can see those hanging in the ceiling when you look at their webpage.
We had a history presentation. A lady came and gave the history of the use of feed sacks because they used them for clothing and aprons and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So they were resourceful people.
Oh, yeah.
So actually, right below us here, there's a 16-foot sub basement, and the turbine sits right below you, right? That's why that
Ah.
access door is there.
Oh, the turbine is down there.
Oh, I don't suppose we're gonna go down there.
No. No.
It's like a creepy show down there.
Creepy
Yeah.
show.
Well,
Yeah.
our audience usually does like the creepy shows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
we have been some creepy corners, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I have actually talked to the manufacturer of that turbine. It's a Leffy turbine out of Cleveland, Ohio, and I mean, they have record of it still, and
Oh.
Oh, wow.
it's actually the second turbine in the mill. And they had all that. This was taken out of Dunn Brothers in St. Ansgar and put into this mill. It was a 67 horse turbine.
So will you forgive my ignorance and tell me, is the turbine is what's giving you electricity in your building right now?
Well, that's what would make the horsepower to turn. There used to be a drive shaft coming up right through here.
No, it no longer operates.
Oh,
Yeah,
no
it
longer
no longer
operates.
operates,
Oh,
no.
okay.
No.
Okay.
But it is his dream to one day.
That's what
Make it
you.
work.
Okay, that's your referring to.
Everything's about more power.
Dave wants to rule the world.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and it, you know, a lot of people don't realize a turbine is horizontal.
It lays
That-
flat.
Yes, and the turbine is powered by the water coming in the side of the spillway that we showed you the pictures of upstairs.
Mhm.
Comes in, spins the wheel, and then that
It
dumps
exhausts
out.
out through the bottom of the turbine and out.
Yeah. Where other mills have the uprights
Yeah.
on the outside of the buildings. Ours is a
that's
turbine.
never
Like-
been that here.
The closest one that I know of is that, I can't remember the name, but in one outside of Winona there, they have a big paddle wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And they can, that's functionable, it works.
Huh. Wow. So tell us how you're operating these days in spite of COVID.
In spite of COVID, there are all the foods to go.
Yeah.
As you can see, all of our dinner plates are
Yeah, our
here,
dishes are down here.
stored.
We have
Yeah.
to-go containers
So
upstairs.
everything's to go curbside.
So it
Mhm.
sounds like next week this will get swapped out, sounds like.
And,
Not that we won't have to go food, but
right.
we'll have to get the dishes out. Clean 'em.
We can still serve outside.
Yes, and maybe we
Yeah.
should walk out there because you've done I was thinking earlier, you said this room was born of the flood disaster, and I think your outdoor dining was born of the COVID disaster.
Yes.
Isn't that
Yeah.
right?
Yes, it is the silver lining to COVID.
Yeah, it is.
We've always wanted to do an outside area, and now we have it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and it's
outside
beautiful.
And then-
dining with outside entertainment. And
We had already
everywhere.
planned this before that flood, but the flood just made it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The flood just went, okay.
Put
I
it
guess
in motion for you.
Yeah, I guess we're starting now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to clean this up, so.
Sometimes things do happen
Yeah.
like
Yep.
that.
Because
Yeah.
they're silver lining.
Well, before we head outside, I do have one comment. Mark Ashley looked in the 1884 Moore County history book, so thank you. And it said that Matthew Gregson started building the building and dam in October of 1872, and
Oh, good.
finished that
Good.
winter. And that working on the foundation and dam that winter, completing the mill the next summer. So summer of 1873.
Okay.
So, I'm losing my signal here.
If either one of us loses our signal, we'll start another video again.
Yeah.
So just hang in and refresh your page. We
We
love
should've-
technology.
We should
Wanna
have.
go look outside?
Yeah.
We should have.
Sometimes we have troubles with Wi-Fi
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to
it's
make
not
myself turn
foolproof.
it off.
Sometimes we say, let's use Wi-Fi, and then there we are.
We're back on.
Sometimes we lose our Wi-Fi, sometimes we lose our
Yep.
normal signal. It just,
It's bizarre.
yeah.
Yeah, all the everything's really thick. The mill
Yeah.
is filled with concrete, so
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of floor differentiations here. So some places I have 16 inches of concrete in the floor upstairs.
Oh,
Wow.
16 inches in concrete in
They
the
like
floor.
poured concrete.
And hammering nails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Get outside?
We're following Ann outside.
Is that where we're headed?
We should mention
I think
Anne's
so.
desserts.
You want dessert?
No, I want to mention that Anne is known for her desserts.
Oh, yeah. They're all real.
And they're all homemade and real.
So this is going out to the parking lot. So we're taking a peek here at their outside dining now.
So right now we just have it set up with fire pits. So people can just sit outside if there's been a fire and have pasta, which has been very popular.
So while you're waiting for your takeout food,
I set
people
up
can
just for
enjoy.
Christmas time for photo ops, so people could go up there, sit down, and have family photos.
Santa was there.
Yes, Santa did come.
So right now it's just fire pit.
Yeah.
But you did have tables out here at one point, right?
In the
Yes.
summer.
Yep.
And we just actually landscaped. You can't. It's really hard
It's
to tell
hard
right
'cause of the
now.
snow.
Yeah. But we did landscape it so that we'll have an outbuilding right here for a temporary bar that we'll be able to just put up and take down.
Awesome.
This is actually going to be a stage placed down there where it was last summer, and that's where we have our live entertainment. So it's
Beautiful setting.
Guess I can show you what the view
Are those doors historic that are up there on the trailer?
Yeah.
That's the old front door in the middle.
Oh, that's
Oh,
fun.
really?
Yeah.
So that middle door up there used to be the front door.
Actually,
So-
if we go around the back, it has the old sign on it.
The middle door
So
up
you
there
don't
used
ever
to be
throw
the
anything
front
away?
door.
No, you didn't.
I like people.
The one on the left is actually the men's bathroom.
The men's bathroom door.
So the men's bathroom door is one of these, and there it is. That
That's
door
the
dates
The
to.
old door.
Oh, and there it is. It's got the sign
Oh,
on the
cool.
front. Or the back, I guess.
Very fun. So don't throw your stuff away, people. Make it into something new.
We've been told this wagon chassis that used to come to the mill.
And this wagon chassis, Dave just said, used to come to the mill.
I mean, it used to actually have tugs and eveners on it. And somebody put the full hitch on it.
And a view of the outside of the building. The area has certainly changed, but can still be enjoyed.
Yep.
Around the corner.
Is there anything else you want us to know, Dave?
Anything else for the good of the cause?
You just need to ask questions because hopefully I can answer them.
People ask questions.
Yeah.
Anybody have any last questions here for Dave?
Yep, any last minute questions at all?
How far does your property go?
I have the next 3 acres there to that next house.
Okay.
And actually, where that house is, that would have been Ramsey Ice.
Oh, that would have been a Ramsey Ice.
Yeah.
Okay. You
Oh,
can see it
Wendy
through
had
there.
wanted to know about cabins. Do you know any of the history of the
That's
cabins?
where the house
There-
back there through the trees.
Well,
used to be
there's
Ramsey
one
Ice.
original cabin left in Woodhaven.
Over across the way there, there's.
Yeah, well, the river goes up around, so it'd be like straight across there.
Oh. And it was a like a vacation cabin?
No, it was. I mean, Woodhaven used to be the old cabins just on the river, and a lot of them got turned into homes.
Okay.
So, one of the original cabins is still up there.
I forget
I
why.
can't remember who she talked about
She-
specifically. that she asked
George
about.
Hirsch, I think.
That's
owned a
right.
cabin.
Oh yeah, George Hirsch.
One of our volunteers and researchers, Wendy, has been doing some newspaper research, and she found mention of these cabins, and I believe one was owned by George Hirsch. And she was, I guess, just wondering if you. No one really
I
seems to know
know-
anything about them.
I know about where it was, but I didn't personally ever see it.
Mm. So it was kind of a way for people to get out of Austin to come out
Yeah,
to
we
these
actually
cabins?
messaged Sherry Lunt, and she kind of told me where it was. Because they've lived down there. They were one of the first people to live down there. I think they've lived there since... I think Dave Larson was 1950. He was the first guy down there that, like, lived there.
Okay.
And Dave Larson isn't there anymore, so...
Hmm. Maybe we'll have to research more into that.
Another Hump Day history.
Another
mystery.
Hump Day
Another
history
Hump Day.
mystery.
Yeah.
Before we go to Holly, do you want to talk about next week?
Sure, we are going to be talking about the history of the building that is now Twice as Nice Consignment and Gift Shop. It used to serve as the first Hormel provision market on Main Street, and it has had other businesses in there. So next week we will talk to Sandra, who owns Twice as Nice now, and we'll learn more about the building and the provision market. So join us next Wednesday.
Here on Facebook Live at noon.
So if you missed that, next week we're going to be at downtown Austin at Twice as Nice, which is former Hump Hormel provision market. So be sure to join us next week, Wednesday at noon.